The voicemail he forgot to erase. It was an ordinary evening when everything changed. Susan wasn't looking for the truth. She was looking for her husband's phone. At 64, she had learned that life rarely announces its turning points. They arrive quietly, disguised as routine. Dinner dishes soaking in the sink, the television murmuring in the background, a husband who had gone to bed early, tired from another long workday he never talked much about. The phone was on the kitchen counter. She picked it up without hesitation. There was nothing secretive about it. After 41 years of marriage, privacy had softened into familiarity. Passwords were shared. Phones were borrowed. Trust had never felt fragile. The screen lit up. One new voicemail. Susan frowned. They rarely used voicemail anymore. Most people didn't. She pressed play. The voice was a woman's. Not young, not flirtatious, calm, familiar in a way that suggested repetition. "I know you said not to call," she said softly, "but I needed to hear your voice again, just once." Susan did not move. Her first thought was practical. It must be a mistake. Her second thought was slower, heavier. The message ended without a name. The house seemed suddenly louder. The refrigerator hummed. The clock ticked. The television continued talking to no one. Susan sat down. Her husband Richard had always been careful, predictable, a man who left the house at the same time every morning and returned at the same time every evening. He never smelled of perfume, never guarded his phone, never missed anniversaries or birthdays. If there had been a secret, it had been hidden well. Too well. Susan replayed the message. This time she heard the pauses, the familiarity, the restraint that comes not from impulse, but from history. It wasn't passion, it was connection. They had met in their early 20s, married before life complicated itself, raised children, paid mortgages, learned how to argue quietly and forgive without ceremony. Over time, conversation had thinned, not from conflict, but from comfort. Words replaced by routines, touch replaced by proximity. Susan had believed that was enough. Now, sitting alone at the kitchen table, she wondered when enough had quietly stopped being enough for him. Richard woke to find her still there. She didn't accuse him. She didn't raise her voice. She handed him the phone. "Who is she?" Susan asked. Richard listened to the message with his eyes closed. When it ended, he exhaled, long, slow, defeated. He told her everything, or at least everything he could say aloud. How it started with conversations after meetings, how she listened when Susan no longer asked, how it felt harmless until it wasn't, how he had ended it weeks ago, but forgot to erase the message. "I didn't mean for you to find out this way," he said. Susan looked at him. "At our age," she replied quietly, "there is no good way." They didn't separate. They didn't forgive quickly either. They sat in the discomfort, the honesty, the realization that loneliness does not belong only to single people. In the days that followed, Susan grieved something she hadn't known she was losing, the illusion that love, once built, could maintain itself without effort. The voicemail stayed on the phone, not as evidence, but as truth. Some betrayals do not shout, they whisper. And sometimes the hardest thing to accept is not that love was broken, but that it had been quietly neglected.